Hi everyone, welcome back to Bolo Whip. If you're here for We Read Wednesday, I thank you so much for coming by and watching this episode with me. It's an episode, that's right. Yeah, I'm a repeat offender. I have a few videos on this topic. So I hope you have had a wonderful week as well as a wonderful weekend. And Wednesday, it's the middle of the week for me, and I have to say that it all just blended together. So I'm kind of busy with my full-time job. I'm not working my part-time job, but I have a lot of family stuff I'm taking care of, so I really can't divulge or share that information with you because it's kind of personal and private, and that's just, I don't mind getting personal and private, but this is kind of a very touchy subject, so I don't want to talk about it online to anyone. But I do want to talk about this book. So I did have a chance to read through it a little bit more. If you haven't looked this book up online, you should. It is the Illuminae Files. And if you go to Goodreads will give you a very good description of what the book is about. It'll give you some spoilers about it. It will kind of help make a little bit more sense as to the characters and the ships and, you know, what's going on. There's like so much I didn't read. Again, because I just started it, and when I started it, I wasn't really planning on recording it. And I didn't want to go back and read it again, so that's why I didn't touch the first portion of the book. But the character Katie and the character Ezra are both kind of like teenagers, a little bit more mature teenagers. And then Ezra has a mother who is a captain of a ship, and him and his ex-girlfriend Katie, are both from the same planet, and their planet, they had to evacuate their planet because basically, yeah, a lot of things happened on that, and I don't want to kind of get too much into that, but like I said, if you go to Goodreads, that's a good place to start if you're wanting to find out the entirety of the story. I did make this is a borrowed note from Goodreads, so it will kind of help you. Aiden is the artificial intelligence. Copernicus is Katie's mom's ship, so Katie's mom is running a ship, so yeah. Lincoln Baytech, Katie's ship that Katie's on is Hypatia, and Alexandra. The Alexander is Ezra's ship, so Katie and Alexander, neither one are on the same ship, but I'm sure towards, you know, in this book, they're going to probably try to get to each other. I mean, usually, you know, the young loves and all kinds of stuff is happening. So Aiden is artificial intelligence, so that tells you that this ship is, you know, probably, maybe it's learned how to repair itself, or maybe it's learned how to lie and manipulate. I don't know. These are just kind of my thoughts. So the reason I went ahead and started this video, is because I have read ahead quite a bit, and I wanted to kind of get you guys caught up for the next one, since I'm going to make 2 videos on this to get caught up, and then go into the next one to save myself a little bit of time for Wednesday we read. So, without further ado, this is where we left off. And Ezra's friend basically went to go rescue a girl, and his name was McNulty. And he volunteered to go get the little girl. And when he went to get the little girl, she basically cut him with a shiv. So, I don't know where she had the shiv up her sleeve in her dress. I caught a glimpse of silver, a flash of red. McNulty roared as the blade punched through his hazmat suit, and the ballistics weave underneath. So, layers. It got through all the layers. Our gear is built to take a knife from a charging gorilla, or a point-blank burst of a heavy rifle. God knows where she got the strength. McNulty shouted, throwing her aside and clutching his wounded arm. If you didn't know, this book also, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in 2015, I thought he was going to come out with a movie for this. I don't know what happened. I didn't look further into it. I picked this book up because I got a really, really good deal on it. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let me get it. And it sat on my shelf for a while. And then I decided to list it because I was like, I haven't read it. But then, when I listed it, I started researching it and reading it, and then I was like, oh, this is written really well. Oh, let me read a little bit, and then that's where the videos started coming from, because, I mean, I know that people do reselling videos every day, sometimes a couple times a day. I know that people do vlogs, and they do all kinds of stuff on their vlogs. I do happen to love books. I love reading, and I love literature, and I love stories, and I like words, fancy words, and big words, and I also love the stories. So I decided just to start recording. Anyhow, back to this. Enough about me. So McNulty, he shouted, so obviously he was in pain. The girl hit the deck, twisted up onto a crouch, lips peeled back from her yellow teeth. She leapt at Private Henderson and put her shiv through his hazmask, punched right through the eye hole. Her stare locked onto mine as his body hit the deck, big and brown and brimming with hate, bloody steel in one little red fist. "Don't look at me," she hissed. I'm sure she was yelling this. "Don't look at me," she hissed. Or "Don't look at me." Sykes put her down. Excuse me. Single shot right between the eyes. Dropped her before I could blink. And then we heard them. Calls out in the dark, one after another after another. Something skittered across the deck at us, fizzing and spitting tiny sparks. "Pipe bomb! Grenade!" The blast took out Gonfini, Montano, and Parker. The second would have taken off my legs if I moved a little slower. I can see shapes in the dark, dozens of them. More pipe bombs raining from the gantries above. The explosions lit up the hangar's belly like fireworks on Terra Day. Lit up the body of that 10-year-old girl with a bullet in her face and a bloody knife still clutched in her hand. And I did what any officer with a brain would have done. Oh boy, I'm out of it today. And I did what any officer with a brain would have done. Battlefield commission or not. Fall back! Fall back! The Sigma's credit. We hold formation as we pulled back, layering down suppressing fire as I grabbed McNulty and swung his arm around my shoulder. The hostiles were smart. I heard the Phobos turned you mindless, but they were moving with intent, trying to cut off our retreat. A dozen VK Pulse grenades talked them out of it. A dozen VK pulse grenades talked him out of it. Oh. Cleared us a path back to the airlock. McNulty was cursing beneath his breath the whole time, calling himself stupid. Poor McNulty. He didn't seem too badly wounded, though I thought his gear saved him from the worst of it. I think that as soon as they entered the atmosphere, as soon as they got through those airlock doors, and since it's airborne, it's on their suits, they're breathing it, I think that it will affect most of them. And now they're going back onto another ship with it. It wasn't until we sealed the secondary airlock behind us that I realized how wrong I was. As the Carenza rookies gathered about us and babbled, Exo Miles' voice rang in my head. "Sigma, this is Com. Lieutenant McCall, report status over. Com, this is Sigma. At least 40 hostiles in the bay. Henderson, Parker, Gandolfini, and Montano are down. McNulty is injured. Over. Sigma Com, did any hostiles make it through? Over. Com Sigma, negative. They're sealed outside airlock 2. Cycle is through. Over. Sigma Com, you said you have a squad member injured? Confirm. Over. Com Sigma, affirmative. McNulty took a knife wound. It's not as serious, but is his suit intact? Over. McNulty looked at me then, and I saw in his eyes. Com Sigma, is his suit intact? He had blue eyes, McNulty, pretty as oceans. Lieutenant, is his suit intact? Negative. Winifred, you cannot bring that man through the airlock. Do you understand me? Leah. Fred, you cannot bring him through. The battlefield commission on my chest weighed about 10 tons right then. Made it hard to breathe. Impossible to speak. It's not the bullets that kill you. It's moments like these. One piece at a time. In the end, McNulty stood for me. In the end, McNulty spoke for me. Wow. Com, this is McNulty, I copy. Order acknowledged. Over. I found my voice then. Barely. Sergeant, forget it. Lieutenant, he patted his rifle. If they make it through the airlock